United States of America in Brooklyn, and he was ranked one of the best roller skating dancers in New York City. He was a pop locking breakdancing whiz that made it to the final auditions to the movie Beat Street. In 1989, he won the New Music Seminars Battle of the World Supremacies rap concert. He's toured with the likes of um, Ice Cube, Kid Rock, and he's appeared on MTV, BET, and the Ralph McDaniels video show. He's number one. He's ranked number one with. I'm sorry. He's worked on commercials, movies such as The Matrix, King of the Hill, and number one cartoon shows Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon. Please join me in welcoming Sunset's pride and joy, Sean Conrad, aka Mr. Freshco.
Freshco!
What's good? What's good? Wow, that was a great introduction.
I had to, man. Like I told you, you really are the pride of Sunset, and it's on me with this platform to make sure that cats do not forget, what you contribute to the culture, and again, you're a product of Sunset. Couldn't be more proud of you, and proud to have known you, and I'm glad that you went on to do really great things.
Oh, thank you, man. Likewise, and it's an honor to be on this, and yeah, I'm excited. You just brought my energy up, so yeah, I'm ready. Let's rock.
Yes, sir! That's what it's about.
Sean, before I go any further, let me introduce you to my co-host Chris, good friend of mine. He's from Sunset Park as well. I think you probably came in a little after Sean was already moved on.
I'm pretty sure, because remember, I was a lot of back and forth from here to Puerto Rico, so, and the side.
What's good, Chris?
What's up, Bobby? How you doing, man? How's everything?
I'm doing great, brother. I'm doing great.
Glad to hear that.
So first, where do we start, man? I mean, there's so much to cover with you, so I'm just gonna jump right into it.
Okay.
Talk us through your childhood in Sunset. Where do you go to school, hang out? What arcades were you playing as a kid growing up? Give us your perspective on growing up in Sunset.
Oh, absolutely. So I'm from 49th Street and 10th Avenue, as I used to tell my friends where I used to live, which is really Borough Park. And I spent time in Sunset Park. I spent time in Bay Ridge. I spent time in Park Slope. 13th Avenue. I grew up going to PS 160 on Fort Hamilton Parkway, and I think 52nd Street. And my mom worked right across the street at the hospital. I used to think it was normal to wake up a half hour before you go to work and just walk across the street. I thought that's what life was. So I went to PS 160. After that, I went to Pershing Junior High School. And that was literally, since I lived on 49th and 10th, Pershing was on 49th and 9th Avenue. So again, I'm living the dream, waking up 10 minutes before school and walking up the street.
Brother, that is unheard of in New York. It is unheard of.
I thought that's what life was about. So, right around in elementary school, PS 160, I was playing roller hockey, and man, what a story. I was one of maybe 2 or 3 black guys playing roller hockey at the Fort Hamilton Roller Hockey League on 53rd Street and Fort Hamilton Parkway. And that started, this guy broke his stick. I was on the side, he gave me the stick, and there started this roller hockey career. And the reason why I say career is because I ended up winning every award in that league, every single one. And meaning, literally, I went to an awards dinner, and the box that they brought the trophies in, I used that same box to take my trophies home.
Get that? Wow. Hey, but Fresh, let me share a story with you though. Me growing up at 43rd Street, not knowing a lick about hockey, I saw you down there playing one day at 53rd, and
Yeah.
I was like, yo, I guess minorities could play hockey. After that, I started watching the Rangers on TV, and And then I got into foot hockey because of you, because of just seeing you. It was
Wow.
like you just stood out, and it was so impressive to see you out there, and you were so cool, and you know it's crazy to say this, Sean, but the way you carried yourself, you were a regular guy. You weren't different, and you were busting ass. That was the crazy thing. So I said, yo, man, we could play this and we could excel as well. And it was just nice seeing you out there. For me, it did a lot. I mean, at the time, you're so young, you don't realize it. But when I went back to Sunset Park, I'm talking to the rec guy there. I said, hey, how come we ain't playing hockey up here? And next thing you know, he started introducing foot hockey, and we started playing up there. So it was really cool seeing you out there.
Oh, that's great, man. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, so that's how things started, and there's a reason why I'm starting with that story that I'll get to. But yeah, I was playing roller hockey. I know things about hockey that a person who looks like me is not supposed to know. I mean, those are the days I started studying Ron Duguay from the Rangers, Phil Esposito. I watched Brian Mullen live at Fort Hamilton Roller Hockey League, who ended up in the NHL. Just things that wasn't typical, for somebody who looks like me, So after that, my teachers were like, wow, you're so good at roller hockey, like you should continue to play and keep going. But next thing you know, I discovered the United States of America and these people dancing and spinning on skates. And this guy, Walter Ford, took me under his wing because he saw I could skate good. And he was like, man, I need to take you to Empire, Skate Key, USA Queens. Dude, I went to every roller skating rink, like in all the boroughs, when I was like 13 years old, man. Like, it was crazy. it was crazy. So one day I showed up and I told the people at the hockey organization, I was like, I quit. And they were like, dude, you can't quit because the unlimited, the men wanted to put me in the men's league, but I was still just a teenager. And they were like, no, they were like, dude, you should keep going with this hockey. And I was like, nah. And I changed my skates. I got white wheeled All-American Plus, changed my boot, and here I am. I'm going to Empire, Ruby, Skate Key, and I had these large crowds around me watching me skate. Wow. And it was just great, And I studied that too. I just would study every top player or skater that I would see. I would study what they did. I remember this dude came to United States of America. He was from a skate crew called Crown Kings. He was this white dude, and he was skating around, and he was so smooth cutting through people. And I was like, that's how I want to skate. And I was talking to him. He was like, yeah, you ever heard of Bill Butler? Bill Butler's a legendary skater who I met when I moved to Atlanta like 9 years ago.
Wow.
But I heard about him when I was like 14 years old.
Wow.
So I knew about Bill Butler. I knew about like all these things, and that's allowed me to do what I was doing at probably a higher level than average. So
let me ask you fresh. So during this time, were you breakdancing and roller skating, or it was just strictly roller skating?
I was roller skating, breakdancing started, but there was also graffiti. There was a lot going on at this time.
Yeah.
So I wrote graffiti. I wrote BLAS, B as in boy, LAS, Blast One, and I was just following all these New York trends that I was seeing. So, I ended up writing on the beelines and then going to Sheepshead Bay, 2 yards, like all this graffiti stuff that, again, I'm trying to keep it short, but people really don't know that I was involved in. But I was deeply involved in graffiti, deeply involved in breakdancing, and then, of course, music. A lot of people know me for the music, but hip-hop encapsulate all of that. It encapsulates the look, the swag, the music, the dress, the breakdance, the skateboarding, the BMX. It's all of it and it includes not just black people, white people, Puerto Rican people. It's everybody that was at the top of what they were doing at the time. So it's not new to see somebody non-black in doing certain things. That's not new. It's always been that way.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. And it's interesting because a couple of weeks back, I was having a conversation with Chris on this podcast, and I was telling him the dynamics of Sunset. I told him there was a lot of white people, but it was a mix. It was a nice mix, but you definitely saw more white people. Now Sunset has kind of transitioned where you have a huge Asian community, but believe it or not, you have a sector of these Asian people that are kind of involved in the culture. They wear the sneakers, they wear the clothing, they're into sports, they follow the rap music. So it's like it's a beautiful evolution of where we started and where we're at now. That they're still like kind of maintaining the culture and moving it forward.
Yes, I agree with that, and that's man, that's the essence of life, man. That's the essence of music. Music is not this thing that one person invented. It's Elvis Presley copying somebody he heard, and then somebody copying Elvis Presley, and then it just keeps moving. It never stops recreating itself and reinventing itself. I can tell you right now that after I won the World Championship rap contest and Miz won for DJing, he went to Japan. I didn't get to go to the Japan trip. But when he came back, Miz said that the DJs in Japan were better than us. Period.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. He said they have all our tapes, and he said, yo, they know how to scratch like me, Jazzy Jeff, and Cash Money.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, like that's the beauty, but you got to keep your eyes open, because if you look at breakdancing right now, yeah, you could say Rocksteady Crew pioneered this, you could say Body Mechanics this, but do you see what these guys are doing overseas?
Yeah.
It's beyond breakdancing.
Which is crazy, because if you really think about it, back then, the only exposure they had to that was TV. But how much can you really learn if not? I guess just practicing. That's how they really got good. But I think New York was like a different animal in terms of you're going out there and you're battling someone every day. There was always somebody to battle you.
That's why
you had to practice.
That's why they call it the Mecca. Also, it all to me, it all started here. It all started in in New York, in the 5 boroughs, and but like you said, they see a little bit of this, a little bit of that on TV, and it's like everybody evolves, man.
Yeah.
That's how this thing works, man. That's how this thing works. It's like I was listening to hip hop on, what was it? I can't remember the name of the station. Oh, it's WHBI. Wow. WHBI. I think Mr. Magic was on there at 2 o'clock in the morning. I would get my tape cassette ready and record that show for like an hour. And I captured Capone and Noriega, and I don't even know if people knew what was going on, but me and my man Corey was like, yo, Capone and Noriega, CNN, people don't know. Matter of fact, Cool Keith, dude, I got so many stories for y'all. Cool Keith was a popper at the Roxy way before you heard Ultramagnetic. Way before that.
No way.
Wow.
Dude, I used to go to Roxy to watch Fable, Normski, and all those guys that was in Flashdance. And this one black dude with Timberland boots on, he would start popping. And I nicknamed him Boots. I never knew his name. I used to call him Boots. And me and my cousin was like, yo, there go that dude, Boots. One day, a few years later, my cousin said, yo, you know that record, MC Ultra or whatever? I was like, yeah, that's my joint. He said, that's Boots.
Wow.
I was like, what? He said, that's Boots. That's Keith. His name is Keith. So I'm telling you that there's rappers that wrote graffiti. When I met Kane, I said, where did you get the name from? He said, that was my graffiti name.
I can see that. I can definitely.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh wow. If you talk to Mr. Wiggles, the boy can write graffiti. Okay, he's no slouch. You understand what I'm saying? Like that's the whole culture. That is normal. It is normal to be able to draw, to rap, to do comedy. With Jamie Foxx doing comedy, acting, and singing, for me that's normal.
Yeah.
That's just normal. Kanye doing his own tracks and rapping, that's just normal. That's normal. Me and Biggie, when we rapped together, he was rapping over the track I made. It was no big deal because it's just normal. It's part of the job.
Now you just touched on Biggie. I want you to answer this urban legend in Sunset Park. The big rumor with Freshco and Biggie. So the rumor is at Sunset that DJ Enough was, I guess, hosting a freestyle battle. I don't know if it was at his house, but he was hosting it somewhere. You were there, and he had a relationship with you, and I believe he invited Biggie, or it might be vice versa. But the rumor was that Biggie was a little nervous to battle you because he knew about your background. Is that true?
Yeah, that's the first part is not true. There wasn't anything hosted at Enough's house, but the second part is absolutely true. As soon as I met Biggie, to my surprise, he said, I'm not rapping with you on tape. Those were his exact words. He said, I already know what's up. I'm not getting on tape with you.
Wow.
And he half the ride to Enough House. So let me tell you how that happened. I was working on tracks, right? We're talking about like 93. This has to be 93 if I'm correct. I'm working on tracks. I'm producing more, and I'm putting together all this stuff. I go to Enough House, and I bring my my equipment over there, my K2000, my JV 1080, right? I bring it over so I can play some beats for Enough. I set up, and Enough goes, yo, you know that guy Biggie Smalls was partying bullshit? I was like, yeah, I saw him perform the other night. It was pretty hot. He was like, yeah. He said, I want him to do some stuff because for my show on Hot 97, I'm trying to get him to do some drops. You want to come with me to pick him up? I was like, cool. So we got in Enough's car. That's when Enough lived on Ocean Parkway, Ocean Avenue.
Yes.
And we got in Enough's car and we drove down to what is that, Myrtle Avenue and Gates or whatever? That's where Biggie used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we drove down there. We ring the bell. And, Biggie's mom said he wasn't there. So Enough gets back in the car. We drive to the corner to the laundromat, and he's there. And he gets in the car, regular dude, flannel shirt, just regular dude. He could be on the phone call with us right now, regular dude.
Wow.
He gets in the car. Enough goes, yo, Biggie, my man, Freshco, Biggie. The first thing Biggie said was, yo, it's an honor to meet you. He was like, as a matter of fact, me and my man Little C's was just playing your joint. And Biggie starts rapping my record, Now You Know. He was like, Freshco, the number left R-E-S-H-E-O, dope flower, top of the line rhyme mind blower. And he keeps going. He rhymes like the whole joint. And I'm thinking to myself, I didn't even know this dude like really knew me like that. Like I had no idea.
That must have felt pretty good though, right?
Yo, Flash, he was like, damn. He said, yo. He said, one thing I know. He said, I ain't getting on tape with you. That's when he started saying that. So we're driving to Enough's house, and he's just laughing to himself like, you ain't catching me out there. That's how we is. That's how we was. I mean, so the way we got it was at Enough's house, right? It's just me, Enough, and Biggie. There was no whatever you guys said, like a competition.
Event or freestyle Friday or whatever.
No, this was Biggie was coming to say, yo, this is Notorious B.I.G. I'm here with DJ Enough on Hot 97. That's all he was coming to do.
Wow.
That was it. That's all he was coming to do.
Oh, for that little plug that they be doing, that you hear in the ads and the commercials and stuff.
Yeah, drop.
Yeah. You know, so we got to the house and this is what happened. Biggie starts playing. He pulls out the cassette and he's like, "Yo, I gotta let you hear my shit." He starts playing a joint he did with Method Man, and I was like, oh shit, like that's hot. Then he played some other shit from his album, and I'm like, damn. I'm like, this shit is dope. And he said, he said my album's delayed. Like we finished, but it's delayed because Heavy D has to come out before me. Now, if you remember why this is accurate, because Puffy was still working at Uptown.
Yes, I remember.
Right? You guys got it?
Yep.
Puffy, he's still at Uptown. Heavy D is still top priority. Biggie is not top priority. It's Heavy D. So Biggie was like, yo, I'm waiting, and once Heavy D's joint drops, then my shit's gonna come out. And I was like, dope. So what did I do? I hit play on my K2000 to play him my track, my little track I worked on. And as soon as it came on, he said, So what happened, Enough was smart enough to hit record. That's what happened. Enough hit record, and I grabbed the mic, and I was like, yo, we're gonna da-da-da-da-da. And I just started rapping. So Biggie had no choice. It was a rap. We already got him. He has to rap now.
That's real smart. That was real smart.
So it wasn't planned, but I was like, yo, like I had so many. Oh man, I had so many styles and verses. It was ridiculous. So I just was like, yo, I'm gonna do something light, and just warm it up. I did something, then Biggie went, and then I went to the next level. The same shit that happened with Kendrick Lamar and Jay-Z on Don't Whatever. What is it? Don't Kill My Vibe?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could talk about that, but I think Jay did his verse, sent the tape back to Kendrick Lamar, and then Kendrick Lamar, he went in. Am I saying his name right? Is it Kendrick?
Yeah, it's Kendrick.
Okay, sorry.
So you did the whole okey doke. Yeah, let me show you something soft, and then I'm gonna come over the top.
You know what? No, I did that for a living, bro. I did that for a living.
Oh,
I always start with something cool, and then the dude starts going in, and then I go bananas.
Yo, Freshco, now that you mentioned Jay-Z, I have to ask. I know you were part of the Rockefeller Records. How was Jay-Z and Dame still around? Were they still cool when you were there?
Yeah. So I'm gonna be very accurate with this, so there's no bad rumors coming out of this interview.
Okay.
So I did a song with Original Flavor featuring Jay-Z. Called Many Styles that you may know about, and it's on Original Flavor's album. Now, I went to the studio to do that song. I dropped my verse, and the next day, DJ Clark Kent called me and was like, "Nigga, you went bananas on that," and I was like, "Thanks." And he said, "Yo, Damon wants to talk to you," and he put Damon on the phone. Now, Damon Dash and Clark Kent were like, you could not separate them. That's how tight they were. I don't know if y'all remember or know, but anybody who knows Damon Dash and Clark Kent, you could not separate them. They were tight. Damon gets on the phone and he was like, "Hey man," he was like, "Yo, you're dope." He was like, "I'm signing you." Period. That's how that phone call went.
Wow.
Really?
That's how that phone call went. So next thing you know. And by the way, it wasn't. This is what I wanted to make clear. It wasn't Rockefeller Records. It was Damon Dash Management.
Oh.
And the name, I still got the contract. It's Damon Dash Management, and the name of our group of people was Rockefeller.
Gotcha.
Okay, that's how that went down. So, I don't know. Do y'all know about Roughness, a female rapper named Roughness, Puerto Rican chick? You ever heard of her?
Doesn't
Doesn't ring a bell.
Right. So Roughness was way before the chick that did whatever that song with Jay-Z. It was Roughness, Original Flavor, me, Sauce Money. You ever heard of Sauce Money?
Yeah. Sauce is incredible.
Sauce Money, and Jay-Z were almost like partners.
Yep, I remember that.
They were almost like partners. so Jay-Z and used to always come to Dame's house on, I think it was 90th Street and like First Avenue. And then Ski lived right around the corner. So we all would meet there. And basically, Dame was so excited about me because of what I did on Many Styles. He would walk around with me and Jay-Z and just, yo, we just battle people on the corner. That Dame was like Don King.
Yeah.
And, yo, it was crazy. He would be like, yo, I got the two best rappers on the planet. And he would just have us battling these random dudes, the poor guys, random guys on the street. And he would be like, yo, you can't fuck with any of these dudes right here. So
that sounds like Dame.
We got in Dame's car and we were driving to a club one night. And we get in the car, I'm sitting in the passenger seat, Jay-Z sitting in the back seat behind Damon, or kind of in the middle. He's in the back seat by himself, so he's kind of in the middle. And Damon looks at me, and again, he's excited, and he's like, damn. He said, you know what? Yo, you and Jay would be a dope battle. And I looked at Damon, and I was like, whatever. And Jay-Z looked at him, and Jay-Z said, whatever. And I was like, oh, that's the first time in my mind, I was like, okay, I don't think this dude likes me. Like, I'm the new guy, and I don't think he's happy about it.
He already had blown up already? Jay was already big, or not yet?
No. Jay was known in New York as, you know, super dope rapper, him and Jazzo.
Okay.
Right? Super dope rapper, but he did not blow up yet. Like, Damon was trying to get us new deals, but they would always fall through.
Gotcha.
And they would always fall through. So, you know, it was more like if Damon and Jay go to a club or we all go to a club, you see, like, we went to that club we went to, it was LL got on stage, Kane was rhyming, and then Damon was like asking Jay, yo, you want to go up there? And Jay, he can be very quiet at times, or at least back then. So he didn't go up. But Damon was telling me that Jay already had a battle with LL somewhere. They went to Queens, and Jay took LL out, and then Jay had this rhyme that was like, it was something, I did that to LL, and I'll do that to you too. Like, that was one of his favorite fucking raps, you know. But I wasn't there for that. I didn't see Jay battle LL, but that was the story that Jay-Z took out LL and he demolished him.
But Fresh, let me ask you. So you're around Jay-Z. Could you envision the person he ended up turning into? Do you think when you saw him, do you like, yo, this guy's special, or was he at that time just an ordinary rapper to you?
No, I thought he was a good rapper. Then I saw him and Jazzo do a little routine where they was doing the really fast style together, and they did it for quite a while. I thought that was impressive.
Okay.
But he always came across like, to me, quiet. I didn't really know what was going on, and Marcy, he didn't talk about that shit around me. I didn't know a lot about him. The most Jay-Z spoke to me was after I left. I was working at Soundtrack. This is when I started engineering. I was doing commercials for all these shows, King of the Hill and all this stuff. Jay-Z walks in because he had a night session. So I was leaving because I was working there today. He was walking into Soundtrack. And Jay saw me, and next thing you know, it was like we were boys. So he was like, yo, how you been? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm good. I was like, you know, I've been here. He was like, damn, where you been? He was like, yeah, I'm getting ready to go in this studio and work on this joint. And, yo, if you would have heard us, you would have thought we was boys. You know what I'm saying?
Because the level of competition was gone now. The threat. You posed the threat to them.
That's what one would think, you know, but it's just my opinion.
No,
you know, he never did anything to me. He never, you know, he was never rude or anything like that. He was quiet. So to answer your question, I do see all of this happening. Like, it makes sense to me that he had this success and the way he is, because he, in my opinion, was like, yo, I'm just gonna study this and just be so good that no one could fuck with me, and I'm not gonna stop. The reason why I left is because I had all kinds of other alternatives, all kind of other stuff going on, right? I think for Jay and Dame were just like, yo, we're gonna get this, we're gonna get it somehow. And for me, I was like, yo, I don't want to be this broke rapper, you know, with records from 3 years ago. I think it's over. Let me keep moving on. So that was that.
Gotcha. And so, with that being said, then, so from that point, is that when you transition and now you're touring with Ice Cube and Kid Rock, or did that happen prior to the whole Jay-Z?
That happened prior.
Oh, it did.
I toured with Ice Cube, Kid Rock, Too Short, E Nice, Yo Yo. That happened after I won the world championship.
Fresh, hold on. You said Yo Yo?
Yeah.
Did she look good in person? She was amazing on TV. She was amazing. I used to love Yo Yo. Oh my God.
Yes. Yo Yo and I spent a good amount of time together on that tour.
Okay.
And I'll leave it right there.
Okay. Man, you are the best, my man.
I'll do it right there. And I'll leave it right there. She's sweet. I have nothing to say about her.
No.
Whoever's listening to this, if you know Nick Nack, Yo Yo's homie, and you know the whole thing with Minutes and all this, and we had a nice little group, a nice little group of folks,
Gotcha.
And it was great.
Gotcha.
That being said, though, that tour was in '90. So, and again, Ice Cube kind of was like Biggie. I remember we in between shows we went to Ice Cube's room. Everybody just decided to go to his room and chill, and it was me, Wise Intelligence from Poor Righteous Teachers, Ice Cube. I can't remember who else was in that room. No Too Short. D Nice maybe. I'm not sure. But Ice Cube, we started rhyming. So Wise was rhyming, I'm rhyming, and we tried to get Ice Cube to freestyle with us. And he looks at me and says, "Man, I already know all about you." He said, "I ain't fucking with you."
that seems to be the common thing, right?
It's the same thing that Biggie said. It was like the same exact thing. He was like, "Dude," he was like, "I ain't fucking with you. I know you know how to do all that bad shit." He was like, I'm good. And he just never rhymed. He did not rhyme.
now let me ask you though, because I recall that time period. Cube had he broke up with NWA, and then he came to New York and he was doing his thing here. Were you aware that he was writing the movie pilot for Friday?
Great question. It was Boys in the Hood, and no, I had no clue. And the thing, to me, is genius because he had to be working on that movie while we were on that tour, because that tour was late '90 or mid. November. It was November, like winter of '90, and he had to be working on Boys in the Hood, but he never said shit. I had no clue that movie was coming out. I had no clue. So to me, it was genius. But we all knew that NWA was looking for him. So every city we did, everybody on that tour was alert.
Fresh, it was serious like that. They wanted to hurt him.
Absolutely, yeah. When we got on that tour, somebody, I don't know if it was the promoter, but they were like, "Hey, word is NWA is looking for Q, so everybody just be careful." Like, it was a whole thing, and I was like, "Damn, what the fuck? Like, why do we gotta be part of that shit?" Like, So, but I'll tell you right now, Q, and even though it was a while ago, he always was laid back. He never looked worried, never looked shook. Q was just chilling, man. Between shows, he be in some damn flip-flops and socks and just chilling. I mean, like, just so laid back, just so cool. You know what I'm saying?
How was Kid Rock? He was a wild boy?
No, Kid Rock was funny as hell. So Kid Rock at that time, if anybody remembers, he had a starched high top.
Yes. Yes, I do
Okay.
recall that. Yep.
Right. So he was rapping. There was no songs yet. And when I got on that tour, I was like, I couldn't figure out how he was on that tour or why. I couldn't figure out why this guy was on this tour. But as I think about it, D Nice, I think, was on Jive, and I think Kid Rock was on Jive, and I think it was a Jive Records type of deal that they were able to get Kid Rock on that tour.
Yeah, I mean, we were always figuring out why, how is this kid popping? But you're right, it was definitely the connections. But what?
It's a connection, yeah. They got a Jive artist on there, and they you can do package deals when you have that. Like if you have whatever label Too Short's on, you can get another artist on there just because Too Short's on there.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's how that works.
So let me ask. So did this tour change your life in terms of exposure and different companies coming at you?
Not in that way. I think when you're 21, 22 years old, I mean, what was hard, and this is my version of it. You could ask Miz what he thinks, but I would have a meeting with Leo Cohen at Rush on a Monday, and then the next day or on a Wednesday, I could be talking to P. Diddy in his office with this little metal desk and a boombox on the table, like wondering what the hell could Puffy do for me? Like, people don't understand, Puffy was not big yet. So I didn't just sign with him because he's P. Diddy. I wanted to talk to Andre Harrell. Andre Harrell was the big dog.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So we spoke to Puffy. Puffy was like, yo, your Tommy Boy contract is weak. It doesn't have any money, so I don't know what I could do for y'all. We were talking to Leor, but Def Jam just signed EPMD, Redman. They had this list on the wall of all these artists. And me and Miz was like, damn, bro, like, when are we gonna, like, where are we on that list? You know what I'm saying? So we didn't sign with Rush. And again, this is two young kids who are really, we're just the craftsmen. We just want to rap and DJ. We don't want to deal with this. So it was difficult. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got with Damon. Damon couldn't even get Jay-Z signed. He couldn't get me signed. He couldn't get Jay-Z signed. Jay-Z was floating around for years, bro.
Yeah, those are the stories I hear. But let me ask you though, Fresh, during this time period, like, is anybody like utilizing an agent, or is just pretty much you got to go and advocate for yourself?
In those days, it was like you do a show at Car Wash or the Tunnel or oh man, they had the joint on the West Side Highway, like all this. I used to go to those spots and perform with Tribe Called Quest. That would turn up in New York Newsday the next day. Wow. Perform with Third Base. So my whole deal was I was famous because I was that guy, but I wasn't getting any money.
Gotcha.
That was the problem, right? And then come 95, my girl is pregnant. I'm about to have my first kid. I got to get a real job. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
So I think in hindsight, maybe I left too early because remember the internet wasn't popping. I couldn't get on the internet and see how many, how popular I was. So I really didn't know that overseas, all these people were checking for me. I didn't know until Facebook came out and all these people start inboxing me like, yo, my dad bought your record for me for my blah, blah, blah birthday, and you're a legend here in Australia. And I'm like, what? It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
It sounds like there's still some bags out there for you to get, Fresh.
I don't even know what to say to that, man. I tossed all kind of things around in my head, but man, I've had a blessed life, man.
Yeah.
I've had a blessed life. I don't have any complaints. I think what Jay-Z has done is amazing. I'm so happy for him. what Bustin's done, what Redman's done. I mean, um, Redman came to my house back in the day on 49th Street. He came to 49th Street before he dropped. And I don't know if y'all know Gloria, Hurricane Gloria.
Yeah, she's nice.
Yeah. So she said, yeah, I want to bring my friend. I want my friend to meet you. So he brings this guy, Reggie, and I'm like, hey, Reggie, what's up? And I show him the battle that I won. And he looks at me and he says, damn, bro. He said, man, you're the best I've ever heard. Wow. And I was like, thank you. And he said, yo, I'm going to give you Eric's number. And if you ever have a problem with your label, call Eric Sherman. And when he gave me the number, I couldn't understand why I would call another rapper if I have a problem with my label.
Yeah.
You understand? Like, it didn't make sense because I didn't know what was coming. Redman knew what was coming. He knew why he was telling me that basically Eric was helping him produce this crazy album. But I didn't know that. I didn't put it together. I didn't know that, yo, if I call Eric might say, yo, blah, 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 be down with Hit Squad, blah, 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 and we're going to work on a new album. I didn't know until freaking a year or two later, Redman drops, and I'm like, Gloria, that's your friend Reggie? And she said, yeah, that's Reggie. And I said, holy shit. I was like, that shit is dope.
Yeah.
And, like, man, I got all kind of stuff, man. Keith Murray told me that he started rapping because of me.
No way, really? Wow.
It's me. We were working on. I did the edits for the El Nino album. That's Keith Murray, Eric Sherman, and Redman. Yes. Look at the credits on the album. Read the credits, and you'll see my name.
Wow.
We was in the studio, and Redman says to Keith Murray, "Yo, you know who this is?" Keith Murray looks at me, and he says, "Nope." And Redman said, "That's Freshco." Keith Murray looks again. He walks up to me, and he said, "Damn, bro, I started rapping because of you."
Wow.
And it was like, oh, wow. I was like, thank you. He was like, holy shit. He said, how you been? Like, he changed his whole demeanor. And I didn't know I had that influence on all these people. I had no idea.
Yeah. Man, that is so humbling when you hear something like that, especially from these artists that go on to be really big. So
yeah.
So Fresh, all right. So we're going through this rap stage, and then now you said your girl's pregnant. You're expecting a kid. Is this when you start to transition into the audio and film business?
Yes.
And how does that come about?
Yeah, I said to myself. So remember, in around '93, I started producing my own tracks. Never thought that would happen because usually Miz did that. And now, 93, 94, 95, I'm getting better at producing tracks. I was going to do, Ish from Diggable Planet?
Yes.
I was going to do 2 tracks for him. He wanted tracks. Scoop Lover, Big Daddy Kane's Dancer wanted tracks. Like, all of a sudden, I'm like, starting to get this business where people are like, yo, damn, you got some dope tracks. I need some production. So I said to myself, yo, because this is how I am, I'm like, yo, I want to know how all of this really works. And in the Village Voice, I found a course for audio engineering. And it was in Manhattan. And I signed up for the course. It was like for like, I don't know, somewhere between 3 to 6 months. And I signed up for the course. I go to the course. I didn't realize that it was taught out of Soundtrack Studios, which is a big studio. But that never occurred to me. I'm at the course, the second week of classes, literally the second week. I stayed after class, and I saw this thing on the screen, like this animated person on the screen, but it was frozen. And then I saw these waveforms, and I asked the instructor, I was like, yo, y'all work on these animated shows? And he was like, yeah. And then he told me, this is what he said. He said, it pays more than being a music engineer, and you don't have to work all night. You could go home at 5 o'clock.
That was music to your ears, right?
You did what I did. I started laughing. I was like, what? I said, what? He said, yeah. He said, you think you can do this? I said, yes. Yes, I think I can do it. Yo, oh my God. I said it pays more to, I talked to my boy Ken. I said, yo, this guy was just telling me about post-production. It pays more than music. And he said, yo, it's like 9 to 5. Like, I can leave and go home. I ain't got to be here all night. And he was like, don't do that, man. Stay on the music side. Stay on the music side. And I'm like, yo, I could work on Burger King commercials. I could work on TV shows. I went home and I got a phone call, and the instructor, the guy that was running the audio course said, the soundtrack wants to hire you. And I was like, what is soundtrack want to hire you? He said the guy he was talking to, he's half owner of soundtrack.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, shoot. And he said, the guy on the phone, he said, congratulations. He said, you're the first student who got hired while they're still a student.
Oh, that's pretty amazing. Wow. So
crazy.
so what happens then? Like, so now you're exclusive with this guy, with this company, and you're working on these various projects, or you still have to go out and audition?
Let me put you guys right where I was. This is 96, 97. You have some rappers that I know, right? I'm talking about like, let me just really put you guys there. You got Guru from Gangstar, may you rest in peace. You got Common Sense coming from Chicago. You got Greg Knight from Nice and Smooth. You know, these guys that I know, I would see them in the club. I knew them in passing. We all knew each other. We all had okay record deals. Okay record deals. It wasn't great. We weren't making a lot of money, but we were showing up in Rap Masters and we was on BT, blah blah blah. On the flip side, think about this, guys. I'm working somewhere where my income can hit 6 figures very quickly because I'm working on television and TV shows that you see every day. Wow. Not only can it hit 6 figures, there's guys, listen to me, there's guys doing this in 97, and I'm talking about Bobby Gianmarco, he's still doing it. I'm talking about all these names that I started learning about making $300,000 a year working on television commercials.
Damn, wow.
So,
that's
the
insane.
reason I asked you to listen closely is, if you got a dude telling you, yo, when you working on your next single, mixtape, whatever, that's not making any money, it's just floating around for free, and I got a chance to work on South Park, King of the Hill. Which one you gonna pick?
South Park, King of the Hill.
Right. Like it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. I can drink these 40s, right, and smell this weed, or I could work on South Park or King of the Hill. Which one?
No, you're right. But Fresh, you know what though? Some kids are swallowed by the culture where they would actually make that other decision and go the other way because they just caught up with the limelight. And when you made the right decision, I guess having your girl with a baby on the way, you got to think, logically, like what's going to feed the family, what's going to be a longevity. And
right. But and let's be clear. 97. There is no one who's rich from rap except for Run DMC and LL Cool J.
You're absolutely right. That does change everything.
Right? We got to put it in perspective, right? Yep. Because if you ask me today, when we got people like Kanye, who's rich, and we got Beyonce, 20-something Grammys, no, my answer would have been different. I would have been like, yo, I'm one of the best at this. There's no way I'm leaving hip-hop. Right?
Absolutely, yep.
No, it's a no-brainer, right? I will become one of the best artists that ever lived, right? There's no way I'm leaving hip-hop. But in 97, there was only Run DMC, LL Cool J. I can't even name too many more that was on that I made it level. I am rich. rich. I ain't got to do nothing else in my life except for this.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's a really valid point right there. It's true. Because during that time, they weren't the big names like that. Well, at least they weren't eating like that. That we were aware of. But
Right. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, you got Wu-Tang Clan starting to get in there. When I first heard Wu-Tang's record playing regularly on the radio, I was like, wait a minute. Are they going to start playing records as much as they play LL and Run DMC? I was like, is this really happening? Like, I was in shock that the radio let other people in. I literally was in shock. Tribe Called Quest they let in, De La Soul was in, and then 50 came out, changed the game from the flower stuff to the hardcore, and that was it. It's a wrap. The whole thing has changed. It's not a Def Jam type of deal anymore, because Def Jam was running it up until whatever. It was a Def Jam thing, and then anybody else had a couple records in. But other than that, the only rich rappers were on Def Jam.
Speaking of Def Jam, during that time, do you have any interaction with Russell?
Never with Russell, but I had interaction with LL.
How is L? L's a good brother?
He's fine. He was good. That dude, maybe it was when we met, but I met L just before Mama Said Knock Me Out dropped, okay? And we were in a club. We happened to end up standing right next to each other. And we just chilling, listening to the music. I look at him, he looks at me. I'm like, what's up, man? How you doing? He's like, what's going on, baby? And then I paused for a second, I'm bobbing my head, and then I was like, well, let me introduce myself. And I said, hey, my name is, and he said, you ain't got to introduce yourself. I've been watching you all weekend on MTV. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, cool. He said, yeah. He said, I know who you are. He was like, yo, you nasty.
Wow.
And I was like, okay. I was like, cool. And then I was like, man, I got to introduce you to my boy Miz. While I'm waiting for Miz to come by, LL says, yo, he leans over to me and says, I'm going to introduce you to this chick who could suck a golf ball through a garden hose.
That's a wild boy.
Yo, right there, I knew that I was not on his level. That was instantly. I was like, oh my God, like, yo, this dude. I'm either gonna die tonight, or like, I knew that I wasn't on his level right there, because he was just like, he was serious. That wasn't a joke. So Miz came by. And I was like, hey, what's up, Miz? And Miz was like, yo, I'm good. I was like, Miz, LL, Miz. Yo, the first thing L did was smack Miz backhanded, smack him in the chest like, yo, what's good, Miz? And he's like, yo, this dude was so hyper.
Wow.
He was like, he was like, watch this. And L starts calling his chick. And like, he's like, yo, come here. I'm like, Miz looks at me like, oh shit. And I look back at Miz like, yeah, this nigga's off the chain.
Oh man.
So we traded numbers, and then yeah, I called him maybe twice, and that was it. Yeah, like we didn't meet up after that, but yeah, LL was cool. LL was cool. I spent a lot of time with Kane though. Before I won the seminar, I spent a significant amount of time with Kane.
Wow. And how was that? Was that because to me, well, first of all, I guess let me rephrase that. Where do you have Kane in the list of rappers? Because to me, I think a lot of cats sleep on him. He's definitely in the top 5. Because to me, he changed the rap game. I'll put it like that.
I don't have a number for Kane, but I think of him as somebody who's done a lot for hip hop.
Absolutely.
When you ask somebody like me a question like that, it's kind of like, if you ask Eminem, who his top 5 is, in his mind he's thinking he's number 1. So it's hard for him to answer that question, So
absolutely, as you should.
I think Kane man, Kane did so much for the sound of hip hop and what you can do and how funky the delivery can be. He did so much for hip hop with Raw and Set It Off and Warm It Up Kane. And he, so it's more of a placement in hip hop what he did for this game. No, it's incredible. It's incredible. I don't even know how else to word it. To answer your other question, how it came about, I had my first show when I got signed to Tommy Boy Records. My first show was with Queen Latifah, De La Soul, Uptown.
Was that Flavor Unit?
Queen Latifah was with Flavor Unit, but Uptown was just an artist that they recently signed.
Oh, okay.
Cool dude. And Too Poetic. I don't know if you remember Gravediggers.
Oh, yes, those boys were nice.
Yeah, so before Gravediggers, Too Poetic was an artist on Tommy Boy. And yeah, we could, there's a whole nother conversation about Tommy Boy. Tommy Boy has had artists that sometimes they didn't know what to do with. They turned down artists. I think they might have turned down Madonna back in the day. I mean,
wow.
It's a long story. But anyway, so at the Tommy Boy show, I was like, yo, always when I got into hip hop, like my whole mentality was whoever shows up, I'm gonna like kill them, right? That included anybody, like Third Base, Trico Quest, whoever showed up, I'm gonna crush them. That was my mentality. That's what me and Corey talked about. Corey, he was just like, yo, Fresh, these guys can't touch you. And every time he said it, I would try to prove him right. So I got on stage and I started doing my show at this spot in Manhattan. Kane was there, a bunch of other artists, because everybody's coming to see these new Tommy Boy artists. And I took Kane's verse from, I don't know if it was Raw or something like that. I took a part of his verse and I twisted it and did something else with it. And I got this big reaction from the crowd, and everybody was like, oh shit, you heard that? Like it was crazy. So when I got on stage, this guy comes up to me and he's like, yo, he was like, Kane wants to talk to you. And I was like, okay. So we walked to the back, and Kane's like, what's up, man? I was like, hey, how you doing? Good to meet you. He was like, good to meet you. And Kane says, do we have a problem I don't know about?
Oh, shit.
He said it just like that. He said, do we have a problem I don't know about? And I was like, nah. I said, I wanted to take your verse and rework it. And he said, man, he said, okay. He said, that's cool. He was like, man, he said, it was dope. And he said, yo, we should trade numbers. So we traded numbers, and that was it. I would meet him. I used to go to school at New York Tech, but his grandmother lived by Albee Square Mall, like 3 blocks away.
Okay.
So I would just walk over to his grandmother's house, and we'd hang out there like all afternoon, every day.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yep.
Wow, that's
so.
good.
And the thing is, Kane, man, he started asking me, like, every time I would go over there, he would be like, yo, say one of them rhymes again. And I was like, I would just say a verse, and then he would just look at me and be like, how the fuck do you do that shit? And I'm just like, yo, I got more where that came from. And then one time he called me up. I was home. I was at 49th Street. He calls me, and he's like, yo, I got my boys over here. He was like, yo, kick one of your verses. I'm going to put you on speakerphone. So he puts me on speakerphone, and I kick a verse, and then he picks up the phone, and he's like, damn. He was like, how the fuck did you do that shit? So that was his thing. Then we went to the Diamond District. He took me to the Diamond District in Manhattan. He buys this $750 freaking ring, and he puts this other chain on, like they're working on his pain. That was was it 750? It was something like, there was some crazy number, and I was like, damn. I was thinking to myself, I would never spend that much money on a fucking ring. And he just goes in the jewelry shop, he buys all this shit, comes back, and then he's telling me, he's like, yo, I'm getting ready to work on a new album. So I was like, you want me to help you write? And he was like, nah, I'm good. And I was like, "Are you sure?" I was like, I can help you work on some songs. Like, I'm cool." And he was like, "Nah, I'm good." A while later, the album drops, and I hear the influence. I hear him trying to do the. I hear it, and I'm like, "Fuck!" Like,
Oh man.
just ask me to write with you, or tell me, like, "Yo, I'm gonna do some of that shit you was doing."
Wow.
You know, so I you know,
I hear what you're saying.
Whatever, it wasn't no big deal.
No, but I definitely hear what you were saying earlier in terms of timing, because it just seems like if the timing would have been, you peaked too soon. If you would have just came up maybe a year later, I think things would have been totally different for you in terms of positioning and rap.
Maybe. I received that, but like, Lou, like, everything was happening when it was supposed to happen, man. One thing that people don't understand is it's not just hip hop. Like, there's other shit that I do the way I did hip hop. It's no different to me. I can draw anything I look at. God has blessed me, right? I've been very blessed. So yes, if I was a year too early, whatever, but that's when I learned how to do it.
Absolutely.
I went from a dude that didn't know how to pop to battling Flex from Park Slope, and I beat Flex. Next thing you know, I'm partners with Boogie that did the Burger King commercial. Like, that was my life. Things were just happening.
Yeah, no, listen, hey man, listen. You lived a blessed life, brother, and you're right. Everything you did do, you did it great. And with that being said, I have to ask you, what is the secret to your success? What made you so driven? Like, how do you always end up being like the best at what you did?
Okay, I'll answer it simply. I am, and I haven't talked about this much, but I am a very good mimic. A very good mimic. I can look at somebody and kind of do what they just did. If somebody's speaking Spanish to me, I can pronounce it the way they just pronounced it. If I see somebody shooting, dude, I used to watch Michael Jordan like everybody else, but dude, I was the guy. I brought my camcorder into Madison Square Garden, and I recorded Jordan on my camcorder, brought that shit home, and studied everything he did.
Wow.
That's what I'm talking about. I am a very good mimic. So I watch people and I go, okay, or I listen. I would listen to the early rappers and go, oh, the way LL da 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 da, and then KRS came out and it was more casual. I was like, oh, like all of that was I was able to turn that into a mishmash of my own style. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if that answers your question, but and the other thing I would just say is I'm passionate. I am still passionate about the conversation we're having. I am excited about the conversation we're having. That's how I am about hip hop. That's how I was about skating. I'm excited about it. It's not like I'm doing it because I need to kill an hour.
No,
It's funny because that was what I wanted to ask you. If we got a lot of the culture has changed a bit, which to me I don't like it, but I guess things evolve or for better or for worse. But I see a lot of these young these young kids, the younger generation. And then I would bring up your scenario, your life, and you have been blessed, and God bless and blessings to you all for the rest of your life. What advice would you tell these kids that that maybe you started off like you said popping and breakdancing? What advice would you give them to kids if something doesn't go their way or maybe look at different avenues? What would you tell them?
You have to really keep active, right? All we can do as people is keep active. So if there's something you're chasing, it could be the wrong thing, but I tell you what, you're gonna find the right thing as long as you're active, as long as you're getting in your car, going out, having the meeting downtown. You will learn something from that meeting that will point you in the right direction.
Damn.
Right? That's it. You have to keep active. That means take vacations, leave New York, leave Atlanta, go someplace and realize that young man bought his house and he's only 25 years old. How can I do that? If you don't leave New York, you will never know that it's possible. Right? And maybe, maybe people realize it now, but I'm saying I knew that when I went to Flatbush and I met Stretch and Snake, I was like, damn, the people in my neighborhood don't even pop like these dudes. These dudes right here off the chain. And then that took me to the Roxy, and then I started seeing Fable and Wiggles and Norm. Then I came back to the United States. People were like, yo, how did you get so good? And in my mind, I'm like, thank God I left the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Because what's missing here is you guys never saw Fable. That's what's missing. But I did.
Wow.
and now you're looking at me like, damn, dude, like that's crazy what you're doing. So my advice would be keep active. That's how, if I didn't sign up for the audio engineering course, which was for music, I would have never ended up working on the television shows that I worked on. It wouldn't have happened. I had to sign up for the course, sit in a class, and then 2 weeks later I got hired. I get hired by the owner of Soundtrack. I couldn't write that up if I wanted to.
That's fucking awesome, bro.
Let me tell you, Fresh, you definitely you lived an amazing life. You amazing stories, and I am so grateful for the time that you awarded us today. I really appreciate it, and I want to make sure that before we let you go, that if there's anything that you want to promote or anything that you're working on that you want to let the folks know, that please, the floor is all yours, and you can use this moment.
Okay, yeah, no, it was a pleasure likewise, and like I told you, when we were setting this up, don't worry about time. I'll give you all the time you need. And let me just say this real quick. Big Daddy Kane taught me something so important that I still carry with me today, and it has nothing to do with rapping. He asked me to drop him off at his house from his grandmother's house in Brooklyn because he didn't have his car. And we walked over to my car. And remember, I'm a new rapper. I don't have half of what he has yet, right, income-wise. So out of my mouth, I said, I'm sorry, I don't have a Mercedes or Benz. I was like, we just getting in my little Buick here. And Kane said to me, it doesn't matter what you drive. We just get from point A to point B. I don't care what you drive. And that's still with me till today, because it's part of what I told you. You don't have a time limit with this interview, Lou. You're my boy. I remember you. I'm not that dude that's like, I don't remember anybody from back in the day because I done blew up. No, I know who you are, Lou. I know who you are. I'm clear about it. And it's important for us as people, when they have an opportunity to interact with us, show them what this thing could be like. Congratulate them or tell them, yo, brother, damn, you looking sharp. How's your family? How's your kid? Like, give them a moment to be like, holy shit, that guy, that was an experience, man. That guy is so cool. It goes a long way, man. When you pay a toll for the car behind you, that person wants to do that shit for the next 20 people. It changes their life. So, I guess, not to be too long-winded, we need to, that's one of my goals, to just show people like, hey, I'm approachable. This is what I did. Don't give up yet. Stay focused. Stay focused. Tomorrow could be so different than it was today. You could be 2 days away from what you've been hustling for. But if you stop now, you're making it easier for people who are not even as talented as you. So don't stop. Don't stop. can check me out. My website is SeanConrad.com. And I got a digital marketing agency right now that, you know, I put all my time in. And my digital marketing agency is to help businesses grow, to get more customers, to help them increase their revenue. And my motto is, I'm not going to do what the other dude did, which was not show up, not return call, not be on time. I actually will be on time, return your call, and make sure you have a great experience. That's how you change the game.
That's awesome. We see the info. We're gonna post it on all our social media links and always love, man. Those are very, very powerful words you just said, Sean. Very, very appreciative.
Thank you, man. Guys, I appreciate the time. I wish you nothing but the best for you and your families and your friends. Thank you for the interview, and everybody out there listening, peace.
Hey, Fresh, before you go, I left off that Fresh also won the racquetball championship. He's ranked in tennis now. He won a double Dutch championship. He's won bodybuilding competition.
What?
And the guy's also a mixed martial arts.
I thought he